Okay, so I think when you hear Nemesis, you usually think someone that you have sort of a protracted struggle with over time. But sometimes you can have a nemesis for just like a week or even just like a night, and that is how I intend to shoehorn this story into the theme. So this is from when I'm in high school, which is why I'm dressed this way. So when I was 16, Ryan Zucker was a legend. Legend. Not a legend in the sense that everyone in our town knew who he was, but like amongst our like tight-knit group of friends, we had seen Ryan do amazing things and come out the other side completely unscathed, and it was truly something else. So I'm from Okemos, which is, it's like a suburb of a suburb. It's actually not a town, it's a school district, and it's the last thing between the greater Lansing area and Corn. So there's not a ton to do there, and so we had formed sort of our own little posse that we called the Sylvan Glen Patrol, which was cleverly named after the wooded street on which Ryan lived. And we would go out and go on what we like to call raids, which is where we went to the house of someone who was our nemesis for that particular evening or week or whatever, and we would fuck with their house in order to screw with them. And I know what you're thinking, you're like, oh, pranking. We pranked in high school, we doorbell ditched, we toilet papered, and let me tell you, toilet paper is amateur hour, people, okay? Raiding took it to like a higher level, okay? It was like meta pranks, you know? There was like a level of creativity that we had to apply to it. Like we weren't going to do something we'd seen done before. It had to be new, okay? And this particular medium is where Ryan worked his magic, you know? He was a genius, weaving a tapestry of flame and fireworks and just ruthless creativity, the likes of which you'd never seen before. Let me see. He once lit so many fireworks off in the front yard of somebody's house that they had to close down Hagedorn Road in East Lansing for 10 minutes until all the smoke cleared. I once saw him light an entire canister of gasoline, like one of those 5-gallon cans, and then he was like running and the flame was chasing him until he threw it to the woods and it went up. I saw him fish a cigarette lighter out of a fire that he had thrown it into, and it blew, and it enveloped him in a fireball to his waist and threw him back 6 feet and singed his hair. Other than that, he was fine. My all-time favorite, though, was when we got a whole bunch. We went to our friend Jody Longshore's house, and he had a bunch of pine trees in the front of his house, and so we gathered as many dead pine needles as we could, and we made like a little fire and kept feeding it with pine needles for like 2 hours as somebody took like a shirt and wafted the heavy pine smoke into Jody's front yard. And we did this for like 2 hours until the smoke was so thick in Jody's front yard that you couldn't see more than like 2 feet. And then Ryan set off his car alarm and we booked it. Just the sort of stuff that you can't, it was really great. And one of Ryan's favorite things was to take random crap and leave it in someone's front yard. You guys don't understand how funny it was. It was really great. Like we would go out on trash day and we'd grab something and then you just put it in someone's front yard. The all-time best, Ryan once found an entire pink ceramic toilet. Can you imagine waking up in the morning and looking outside and there's just a toilet? That's funny, guys. That's good. So, told you that story to tell you this is the moment when Ryan's legend, amongst us at least, became absolutely sealed for all time. And it actually happened right across the street from my house. Fair's fair, it is a true story. I wasn't there. I was in my house while all this happened, you know, like maybe like 20 feet away. But Ryan was out with Mike and Mark and Jeff, who were other members of the Sylvan Glen Patrol, and they were just sort of cruising, looking for random shit to people put in people's front lawns. And so they go by this house that was like kitty corner to me, and they notice that someone has left an entire like car seat from like the back of a minivan just out and separate and sitting in the front lawn. Score, right? How funny would that be if you left it in someone's front yard? Pretty funny, yeah. So they decide they're going to go grab it. And what they didn't know, and what I did know, was the kid that lived kitty corner to me, with his parents, he had rumored to have gone to juvie at some point, which in Okemos is akin to being Jack the Ripper. Okay? Very quaint, quiet little town, and so, and at this point he was like 19 or 20, And what they didn't realize when they went up to get there was he was on the front porch with all his buddies, who were all like, you know, early 20s, late teens, and they were all drinking beer, and they were a few deep, and they were in their early 20s, late teens, living in Okemos, so they were clearly sort of pissed at the world. And so Jack, as we'll call him, sees them picking up the car seat and jumps up and yells at them, like, what the fuck, man? And so they like drop the car seat, there's this loud crash, they rush off to the car and they drive away. Here's the thing about Ryan though, he is an incredibly stubborn person. And once he was on pace with something, like he was not going to be diverted. Even at times where you're like, Ryan, one of us is going to die, or we're all going to get arrested, he would not give up on it. He was going to finish every single time. So they get into Ryan's Taurus, which Ryan had purchased himself with money he made working 2 summers at Subway. It was a piece of shit. It was an awful, awful car. There's no seatbelt in one of the back seats. We all could have died, you know. But he loved this car, because it's the car that he bought. And so they start making passes on the house, you know, in Jack's house. And the thing is now, all of these guys with nothing to do except drink beer and start fights with 16-year-olds apparently, they're all like up and looking each time like Ryan comes back by. So they make 2 more passes, and both times they like get up and they're like looking, and then you know, Ryan would drive off. And at this point, Mike and Jeff and Mark are all like, we should stop. We're not going to fight like 6 19-year-old guys who it's just not going to happen. They're bigger and they outnumber us. And Ryan's like, no, we got this, one more time. So they go by one more time, and this time Jack is totally on it. So as soon as he sees the car start coming, Ryan like pulls up, slows, and he's starting to speed away, and Jack grabs one of the empty beer bottles and heaves it at Ryan's car and scores a direct hit at range. It was actually kind of impressive. So Ryan, you know, instead of driving away like a sane person would do, Ryan slams on the brakes. I hear all of this from my room, by the way. Slams on the brakes and starts backing up. And everyone in the car's like, what the fuck are you doing, Ryan? Like, what? These people kick our ass. Like, this is not funny. And Ryan is cursing. Like, he is furious. They're like, Ryan's gone into this extra, like, rage state based on how angry he is at this beer bottle hitting his car. And everyone's like, what are we going to do? Ryan's going to get in a fight. We're going to have to defend him. We're all going to get beat up. Who knows? I heard that kid went to juvie. He's dangerous. Like, so Ryan backs up and he gets out of the car. And everyone's like, what is he doing? And he's cursing the storm and he walks around. By this point, all these 6 guys on the porch are like coming down like, yeah, what? And Ryan walks around to the trunk of the Taurus, pops it, and I shit you not, pulls out a chainsaw. I do not know why there was a chainsaw in his trunk. None of these things occurred to us, but Ryan picks it up, whips the guard off, and starts cursing while he's trying to start it, right? The 6 guys scatter. They're jumping fences, they're going through pools, they're running like hell, you know? And so they all leave, you know, and eventually Ryan realizes he's, you know, they're gone and he's not going to be able to start the chainsaw, and he puts it back and slams the trunk and he gets back in the car and he drives off. And about like 10 minutes of silence later, finally Mark decides to ask Ryan, hey, what were you going to do with the chainsaw? Which Ryan replies, I was going to cut down their mailbox. Very matter-of-factly. So that was the pinnacle of the legend of Ryan. But I'll have you know, I saw him this last Christmas when I was home. He's still doing well. He showed me pictures of the salmon that he had speared with a broken stick. And he is now on the verge of being engaged to the heir to the Medawar fortune, which is the largest jewelry store in the Lansing area. So that's Ryan.